Welcome to episode 9 of the Jungle Podcast. I'm your host, John. You know your other host, Jeff. We also have our special guest, Graham, back due to popular demand. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, you can find us on Twitter at the Jungle Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, really any podcast platform as the Jungle Podcast, and you can find us on YouTube as the Jungle Podcast as well. Graham and Jeff, welcome back. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, buddy. Good to have Graham back again. Our namesake, I guess, for the show. The first episode went really well, and excited to have him back.
Great to be here, guys.
He looks so mysterious with his sunglasses. It's like
he does, doesn't he?
A poker against him or something.
The sun never sets on a badass down there. So
right.
I got sensitive eyes.
Is that what it is? Awesome. So let's just hop right back into things, guys. I know Graham's obviously a big basketball guy. He's our resident 90s NBA expert, which is why we had him on the first time around. So we're going to visit some new NBA topics. We'll also have some UFC discussions today. But before we hop into that, start off with some news and notes. Jeff, I'll kick it to you. You have any news and notes you'd like to share?
Yeah, the one that I thought was cool, kind of keeping it in the sports world. Did you see that Governor Ron DeSantis down in Florida said any pro teams that don't have somewhere to play in their home state, they can come down to Florida and play there?
I did. I saw some of that. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
So he's opened up the state. I think it's pretty cool. I'd be fine with getting all of them down there and put them in Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa, Miami. Be awesome.
So I actually get a Reds training camp. Hell yeah.
Yeah, they could have it there too. I saw that the athletic director at Florida actually said they'd be willing to host it at their university too.
Oh, really? Nice.
Pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah.
How about yourself, Graham?
Florida, yeah. I mean, I love Florida. I'll be going down there next week, so maybe I'll get some action.
Very good stuff. Do you have any news that you'd like to share from the week? Anything that stuck out to you?
No, I live in a bubble here, so not really up to speed on current events.
Stuck on an island.
Yeah, if you guys have any good news, send them my way.
This is pedigree right there on this guest. So
That's right.
One that really stuck out to me was so James Harrison said that this was back in 2010. He, I guess, laid out Muhammad Massaquoi, old Browns receiver, and he said it was an interview that Tomlin had given him a payment or like an envelope. Obviously, it's money in there. And this was like 3 years after the whole scandal around Bountygate down in New Orleans. So it's, they're starting to interview Tomlin. The NFL has to investigate that. And I know there's a lot of chatter kind of going around it. So, we're Bengals fans, right? The Steelers.
Did he say how much money it was?
No, but there's kind of hints in there. So
I want to know so bad.
The fine was $75,000.
Right, but I want to know how much money he got in the envelope because it had to cover the fine.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I wonder if it's like double the fine. That's what your bonus check is for this.
Yeah, I mean,
I would love to know.
Which is not surprising.
I'm sure it happens way more places than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. With the Bengals having such a history with them and the Bengals always being accused of being this dirty team, the Steelers are worse. But for some reason they don't get called on it. So I really like seeing it. Having them called on some imperfections, if you will.
I mean, it's good just because us as Bengals fans, we resent them so much. Especially, I mean, going back to 2015 when Burfict got the penalty. And then we fumbled the fumbled the carry going into the end zone. So it's finally good to see something going on there.
Yeah.
What's up, Graham?
Hey Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
So let's kick it over to sexy, not sexy. Graham, did you come prepared with any sexy, not sexy for us this week?
I did.
He was excited about this.
I am excited about this. It's going to be relating to the NBA.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Jump right into it. What's your sexy for the week?
You let it fly, buddy.
So ESPN released their top NBA players of all time, 74 all the way down to number 1. And I'm giving my sexy to Skip Bayless for just shredding that list apart, putting Kobe in at number 9, which the internet decided was a little bit low, especially given the wake of his recent passing, and Shaquille O'Neal, his former teammate, at number 10. Skip Bayless, I thought he nailed it. ESPN did a great job overall with the list. I thought missed some specifics like Giannis being way too high up on there. What do you guys think?
I agree. Go ahead, John.
No, what do we think about the rankings in general? I don't know. I thought they were pretty good. I mean, they got all time periods in there. It's not fair to just limit it to like the last 20 years, in my opinion. So I thought
you can't.
Accurate.
You have to put all time periods because it's all relative. What right. I think is really interesting. Like most people, if you look at everyone's list, the top 10 is basically just shuffled around, but it's all still like pretty much the top 10. Like no one has like any outliers outside of those top 10. So like those top 10 are pretty agreeable. But then the biggest debate like on ESPN was LeBron should be 1, Kobe should be 2. And Jalen Rose came up with a really good like argument against. He was like, when did LeBron pass Magic? Now I think that LeBron is number 2.
Wait, who said that?
Jalen Rose did. And because
Jalen's just a hater. He's a jealous hater.
But listen, he was like, look, everyone loves LeBron because he's been in 9 finals in 17 years, more than half. He was like, Magic went to 9 in like 13 years. Or something like that.
Better support. Like
also won 5. I mean,
that Lakers dynasty is the best franchise of all time.
It's definitely up there for sure.
With the 90s Bulls, and it's the 80s Lakers and the Celtics. I mean, there's no one else in the conversation. The Warriors had a stint there, but they died down pretty quickly.
They had the best regular season ever.
Yeah, but then lost in the finals.
True.
The best regular season that money can buy. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Jeff, John, what's your sexy?
All right, so my sexy is actually away from sports, but I don't know if you guys have seen this. But John Krasinski, who played Jim on The Office, has been doing a news broadcast called Some Good News. And this past week, he did a wedding ceremony for a really big a couple who's like a big fan of The Office. And they brought in the entire cast of The Office back, and they all did their dances that they did with the same music when Jim and Pam got married on The Office. I know it's a sappy, sexy, but I think John Krasinski, keep it going. It's bringing us some good news and what we need right now. I was a huge Office fan, so it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I have seen those, and it's kind of nice to see. Yeah. It's kind of like everyone lighten up.
Right.
Which is great.
It's good. I hope he keeps it going.
Yeah, mine wasn't sport related either. Did you guys see the video of what is that?
Thanks, Graham. That was he was gonna start to do the tune of The Office, but if you do that, then I think we're gonna get kicked off YouTube.
Yeah, we will get kicked off YouTube because that's a copyright infringement.
There's too many viewers on this podcast. For sure.
Exactly.
Sorry, guys.
Way too many people to report that we're doing that. So
don't kill our ads.
That's right.
The ones that are non-existent, the future ads. My sexy was there was a video of Snoop Dogg singing the Frozen song or listening to it in his car. Did you guys happen to see that?
I did not see that.
Please share.
That's all it is. It's Snoop just sitting in his car listening to Frozen, and he's
does he know that
I had to come out to my car to listen to this alone.
Does he know someone's filming him, or did someone catch him in a candid moment?
He's filming himself.
Oh, okay.
Can we clarify which Frozen song?
Let It Go, Let It Go. That one.
Okay, that's a good one. Classic.
that's like the only song from there. That's
Snoop's
like the only
Snoop's
song.
Comfortable. He's comfortable with himself to sing some
Frozen.
Listen to some Frozen.
I like it.
How about not sexy? Graham, I'll kick it to you. What's your not sexy of the week?
Wow, I thought I was going to bring up the caboose on this one. My not sexy is my grooming habits. I went for the little Burt Reynolds mustache look this past week, and it's starting to come back on the side, so it looks terrible. So shout out to my friends over at Gillette. I don't have any razors down here, so send them my way.
I think it looks good, buddy.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah. And definitely like the plug.
All right, so my not sexy for the week. Did you guys see the news with, I think it dropped today, with DeAndre Baker and Quentin Dunbar, the two
Yes.
cornerbacks? They're both from South Florida. Baker was a first-round pick last year. Their first overall pick, a 22nd overall to the Giants. They basically just got arrested for armed robbery. Apparently, they tried to steal like $70,000 in Rolexes and jewels. You have to be like, I don't know if stupid's even the right word. Just
Bored
like,
and silly. Bored and silly. 96.
exactly.
I mean,
Bored and silly. Bored and
Yeah.
silly is good. Hashtag bored and silly. That's
how freaking
Tim Hightower, where
thick
you
can
at?
you be though? Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was like the dumbest thing I'd seen in a while.
it's ridiculous when you hear about these athletes and celebrities like just doing dumb stuff like this. You're jeopardizing a career that people can only dream of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's. I mean, we've never been in that situation, so it's really tough. But like, it's yeah, I agree with you. Like the ones that like don't have their own driver, and then it's just
Drunk.
hire a driver.
Dude, they
Get a
make
driver.
millions of dollars a year. He made $3.5 million this year. He's still at $70,000. Like,
Yeah.
it's still $70,000, but why are you risking that? Like, what?
Yes.
What are you doing? Like,
unbelievable.
the only reason is like they're trying to like be cool. They think
Yeah.
that's cool, and they want to be cool.
Yes.
I think it goes. I think they have much deeper seated problems than that, and just being cool. They're just stupid as shit.
That's a good hot take.
There. Yeah, very possibly.
I take.
So my not sexy, actually, this is kind of a stupid one, but I just thought it was like, this is so dumb. There's a restaurant in South Carolina that's partially reopening, and to keep social distancing, they went out and got a bunch of mannequins, and they're putting them in the booths in between people, so that you know where you can't sit. And it's just a bunch of these dead-looking like mannequin people are all lining this restaurant.
That's
Just-
like
just
I
so
Am
you know.
Legend.
Well, it's just like, come on. Yeah, like when he goes to the
The malls.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
I was
that's
thinking
kinda
about
funny.
going to the restaurant
It
this
is
week.
funny, but
It's kind of creepy,
I-
though.
I-
Imagine being in a restaurant with a bunch of mannequins.
bunch of mannequins and like walking through and seeing. I mean, it would be creepy. So that's my not sexy.
They're all staring at you when you're eating.
Exactly.
So
You know?
how are people going to serve you food keeping social distancing practices in mind? Because
they
you
got really
physically
long
have to.
tongs.
Yeah.
Are they actually doing that like a barbecue server?
No, dude. I mean, I don't. Who knows?
How do you put a pizza in an oven? You got a big long stick. Same thing.
Yeah, you got a big stick. They
So the
hang
servers
all
are
the way
using
away.
those to deliver it out to the customers?
They're probably
Yeah.
not. They probably are just putting mannequins in there for publicity, and they probably don't really care if they're that close to you or not. But
Hey, look. Now people are reading about this restaurant, and now people are probably going to go to that restaurant. So maybe I should flip it to a sexy move. You know, but I thought it was not sexy.
either or. I didn't see that,
Yeah.
but that's good stuff.
Cool.
So, Graham, you'd alluded to it. Obviously, the ESPN for their 74th anniversary dropped the 74 best players of all time. The last time we had the resident 90s NBA expert Graham on, we had done a little bit of a round robin draft, and we had done it with current players and added some classic players. The definition of classic players is being applied as anyone who's retired. So if you retired last year, you're classic.
Right.
So we thought this week we would do another draft, but flip it. So what we're going to do is we're going to draft our top classic starting five of all time, and then each of us are going to get two bench players that are current NBA players. Right, guys?
Yes.
This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough. So many big names on my list.
There's a lot of big
That's why
names
we're
on my
doing it.
list too. It's the greatest of all time.
I got a bunch of small names on my list.
There's no board big enough for my big board.
You got OJ
I got a
Mayo
bunch of six
on
men
your
of the
list.
year on mine.
OJ Mayo. I remember watching him for the who did he play for?
North College Hill.
North College Hill with Bill Walker, and just pulling up on a breakaway, and instead of doing a layup or a dunk, just wetting threes.
Just dominated.
I never saw
Well,
him.
good.
Like, I wish I
Well,
would.
how do you guys want to do the draft order? We're gonna do the
Let's
same
do
draft
this.
order.
Let's do a reverse of last time. So I picked, I think, first last time, or was I third? Who picked first last time?
You were first, and then
I was
last.
first. I was first because I took LeBron.
That's
Here,
right.
how about
Graham was
this?
first.
Graham goes first. I'll go second. Jeff, you go third. We'll go in snake format.
So exact same order that we had last.
Is that the same? Okay, we'll
That's fine
flip
with
it.
me.
So you go first.
No, that's
don't care.
that's okay with me. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Same order.
Same order.
So Graham, who you got?
No, this is a no-brainer. OJ Mayo.
Good one.
Let's go, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, swing and a miss.
All right.
Michael Jordan, and you're playing him at the 2. Not a bad pick, Graham. And it's myself. I'm taking at the point guard from the University of Cincinnati and the Cincinnati Royals at point guard, the Big O, Oscar Robertson.
Man,
Yes, sir.
I knew you were going to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew you were
Wow
going to
is
do that.
right. Bring it.
Wow.
Wow is right. Oh, sorry. So I get a snake. Now, this time, too, we can't mess up the snake on the turn into the bench like we did last time.
Yeah.
Just a quick note. But so I'm going in no particular order for these two then. I'm going Magic and Bird.
Damn.
Magic and Bird. Okay. You got Bird at what? The 3 or the 4?
Bird's at 4.
You have him at the 4. Okay.
No, at 3. No, Bird will be at 3.
You have him at the 3. All right.
Yeah.
I'll take at the 4. I'm going to take Tim Duncan.
Fuck.
Yep.
Back to you, Graham.
Oh, my
Two
God.
2 picks.
My God.
Taking Bill Walker this time? He's not playing anymore. He's retired.
Wow. Wow.
Come on now. You got 2 here.
I love when
right.
you freeze like an old computer.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with one of my favorite players from the 90s, being a small white point guard, John Stockton.
Man, I should have known you were going to do that for sure. So John's your 1. You got MJ your 2. Who's your 3rd pick?
All right.
That big board's too big, huh?
You're right.
That big board is too big. All right.
So many, I can't choose a single one.
No kidding. There's only 3 of us. It's the best basketball players of all time.
And there's only 5 roles we're trying to fill.
All right. I'm
You
gonna
take the
go with.
sunglasses off so you can actually see what you're looking at.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Scottie Pippen at 3.
Scotty at 3.
All right. I'll take at center. I'll take Kareem.
Yeah, that's a good pick, man.
They had him 3rd overall on the ESPN list. I thought that was a steal. If you ask me,
Damn it.
best pick of the draft, in my opinion.
The center is just so deep though, and on my list.
Center is really, really deep. I'm going to
Real
go
hard to
with,
choose one.
so my 2 is going to be Kobe,
Okay.
and my 5 is going to be Shaq.
Very nice. I'm going to go throwback and shooting guard. The logo, Jerry West. That's my
Okay.
2.
That's good.
Very solid.
Very
Graham, you need
solid.
a 10-minute break to think about this.
All right. God damn, I'm like doing 2 players from the 90s. Karl Malone, delivering mail.
Malone,
So
very
Malone's
nice.
at your
Very nice.
4.
What else you got?
So you need a center, Graham.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go with. Wow.
There's too many to choose, right?
I can go Wilt for scoring. I can go Bill for rings, or I could go Hakeem for defense. I think I think I got to go Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt the Stilt.
Wilt the Still.
Fantastic pick. To
Top,
round
you
out
know,
my starting
he's a top
5,
10 of all timer.
Yeah, not according to ESPN, but
Yeah, not according to ESPN.
Was he? I'm not
Yes,
sure.
he was number 6.
I think you're right, actually.
Wilt
So at my
was?
3, I'm gonna take. I'll take Dr. J as my 3.
Okay.
And so, Jeff,
right.
I believe you have. Are you done with your starters?
No, so I have my 4.
Okay.
And my 4 is going to be I'm going to do it. 6th all time on the scoring list, Dirk Nowitzki.
Love it. Yeah, I had him on there.
Yeah, I
too.
love that.
I was like, easy.
Yep.
Dude, I almost
Yeah.
feel like he's the best.
It was-
It's a whole different discussion. I almost feel like he's the second best 4 after like Duncan.
Oh, he's up there. I mean, but see, you have Garnett also. You have Kevin McHale. I mean, there's
Chris Barkley.
Karl Malone.
Chris Barkley, Karl Malone. I
Yeah.
mean, there's obviously a ton of them.
Dennis Rodman's in that conversation.
Yeah, you know what? I'd be that. I can't argue that.
Yeah,
Can't
no,
argue that.
Dirk changed the
Now,
game.
Now,
You know,
John, your number 1 pick, you were getting on Graham for Will Pick not being in the top 10. Oscar wasn't in the top 10 according to ESPN.
He was 11. You're right. Technicality on that one. You are right,
Yeah.
but not that right.
That's who. You're right. That's who I was thinking of when we were talking about Will being out of the top 10. But you're right. Okay, so I get one more modern day pick. I get the first after pick as well,
You can take.
and I'm gonna go LeBron.
Okay. Wait, that's your second of this round, right? So you take LeBron.
Yep. So now you're
I'm
up.
gonna I'll take Steph Curry.
Yep.
All right. So back to back for me, I'll go Kevin Durant and Giannis. I have to take
I like the
both.
Giannis pick. I like that. You'd have Durant and Giannis, Graham.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll take your boy Jeff, Kawhi Leonard. Is getting picked by the.
He was gonna get him too.
Yeah, I mean that's I love that pick.
I threw Jeff's brain into a tailspin right now.
I mean, no, I'm not surprised. That's obviously a really good pick. How many more picks do you
Rondo's
have,
still out
John?
there.
I'm done.
Oh, you're done. That's right. That is your team.
I'm set, man. I'm ready to roll.
That is your team. All right. Well, great. Well, so I have LeBron right there, and then following up with him, I think I got to do it. I know they're on the same team right now, but Anthony Davis.
I had him on my I was between him and Kawhi, and just because how my team's structured, I thought Kawhi would be a better guy off the bench.
I got you.
I had him as one of them too.
My list might as well be the greatest Lakers of all time list, or at least part of it. That's my team.
That's not a bad team to be on.
That's a lot of titles.
Yeah. So let's recap. Graham, your team is complete. Why don't you read off by position your starting 5 and give us your bench? We'll rotate that way.
All right, I got John Stockton at point, Michael Jordan at shooting, Scottie Pippen at small forward, Karl Malone at power forward, Wilt Chamberlain at center. Then I have Kevin Durant and Giannis on the bench.
What a team. Team John, I have at the 1 running point for Team John. We have the Big O, Oscar Robertson. At shooting guard, the logo, Jerry West. Dr. J playing the 3. Tim Duncan, the greatest 4 of all time, running power forward. And then we have Kareem as the 5. Off the bench, I have Steph Curry and Kawhi Leonard.
Solid squad.
That's a good team.
Thanks. Yours is too.
So for mine, I have Magic at the point, Kobe at the 2, Larry at the 3, Dirk at the 4, Shaq at the 5, LeBron off the bench, AD off the bench.
Can you imagine Dirk and Shaq would be a real nice combo?
With
just the height.
With
Two
Larry.
footers, one's power, one's finesse. That'd be
Yeah.
that's a pretty aggressive.
That's a good starting 5 right there, buddy.
I like that.
I think if John would have taken Magic over Oscar, then he no brainer has the best team top to bottom.
You know what? It's not for us to decide, it's for the listeners to
with
decide.
Jerry and Dr. J, I don't know.
We'll put these on Twitter. So it's not for us to decide, it's for the listeners. So
we want your votes.
Go at the Jungle Pod and we'll have our teams up. You can go ahead and vote and tell us which one you think is the best.
Yes. We'll have the votes. All right, this next segment is the one that I was most excited about today.
So,
wow.
What is that segment, Jeff?
So finally, for live sports this week, we got 2 UFC cards this week. We have another one this Saturday.
249 was great.
249 was great. Fight night on Wednesday night was pretty good. I've always been a big UFC fan. We are going to rank our top 10 pound for pound UFC fighters. Now, there's a big stipulation there because there are some MMA fighters that could very well be on the top 10 pound for pound list. Obviously, there would be, but we're only going for UFC stints of the best UFC fighters, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I think that's the way we got to go. I did my list earlier. I haven't looked at it since because I didn't want to make any changes after I saw it. So I'm excited about it. Graham, as the guest, I think you should do the honors and go first.
So is he going through his whole list, or is he just giving his 10, and we'll go?
Let's go 10 down.
Okay.
But we're going 10-1.
10-1. So you're starting with your 10.
Okay.
Don't give us the whole thing. Just give us a 10. We'll give 10, just like we did the quarterback.
Got it. All right. So I really, really struggled with like my 8, 9, and 10.
Yes.
A lot. There's just a board not big enough. But getting down to it, I went with the Iceman, Chuck Liddell, just because of how he revolutionized the sport in gaining popularity. The E60 ESPN did on Chuck versus Tito was great. If you haven't seen that, and I mean he's just one of the best knockout artists of all time. And I thought he was one of the guys on the frontier who took the sport to the next level. In the late 90s, I think it was. So Chuck Liddell, number 10.
I like that pick a lot. The only reason why I didn't have him is because he put the sport on the map during Pride and then came to UFC, and everyone else on my list had more wins in the UFC versus what he did.
You don't have him on your list?
No.
He's like the godfather of the sport.
I get that, but if you do just UFC, greatest UFC fighters, there's a difference. He had the legacy and all that. Unbelievable Pride, came over and was a champion in UFC, not for very long, and then it didn't do too great towards the end of his career, if you remember, in the UFC. Before that, absolute pioneer, one of the greatest of all time in the sport. But I took the UFC approach.
All right.
So I interpreted this list with a few things, like, yes, the UFC stint, but then I also took things into consideration, like where they were at their peak in regards to their in relation to their competition. So Chuck, I mean, was just so far leaps and bounds, so he made my top 10.
Okay.
I just have for talent, so that's how I evaluated this.
I'm not mad about that.
I had Conor McGregor, notorious Conor McGregor, coming in at the 10 spot. If you'd asked me a couple years ago before he got completely owned and embarrassed by Khabib, I'd probably have him higher. But no, I think 10 is if anything a little lucky for him. Best mouth ever, but pound for pound, 10th overall.
Best talker of all time, since Muhammad Ali.
Real quick, Jeff, the Nate Diaz trilogy with Conor McGregor. It's not
trilogy yet.
But that's what I'm getting at. Is there going to be a third fight, do we think?
I guarantee it.
So Nate Diaz is nowhere close to the top 10 on the list, but he won both of those fights. Let's be real.
I think that the second one, you can 100% make the argument that he did win that fight. Yeah, and when I first watched it, I thought he would have won it by split decision. He lost by majority decision to Conor, so it still wasn't even like a full unanimous decision. The first one, obviously, he choked him out. Nate, though, the reason why my number 10, just to get into it, is Michael Bisping. Had all these UFC records. He finally ended up winning a title. He also defended his title. I do not have Conor McGregor on my list. He's never defended a title. He hasn't fought very often recently.
He's held multiple belts.
He has 2 and hasn't defended either of them. Hasn't defended either of them.
He's more bark than bite.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to defend him. And the last time we saw him fight, and now he's still talking shit to Khabib. You're talking shit to a guy who mauled. It's ridiculous. So
he was hiding like a scared child from him when he's like
look, I think entertainment-wise and skill, he's unbelievable. His knockout against Jose, his performance against Eddie Alvarez. But top 10, you got to defend a belt. So Michael Bisping's mine. I know he defended his against an older Dan Henderson, but he was still avenging a loss, and he won it so late in his career. So, and all of his UFC records. What's
up with his eye?
So he got kicked by Vitor Belfort in the eye, and it detached his retina, and he had to get
what's going on with that thing?
That's he's pretty much he fought a lot of his career almost completely blind because of that.
His commentary is like my favorite.
He's fantastic
in the sport.
I love Bisping. Love Bisping. So he's my 10. He's my 10.
Very solid. Right. He was one of my honorable mentions.
Yeah. And Conor and Chuck were both my honorable mentions also. But
we'll get to the Chuck thing in a second.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so let's go to number 9. You want to go number 9, John?
It would be Graham. Graham, hit us with your 9.
I know, but
I put Randy Couture as my number 9 probably a little biased just because I loved him and rooted for him, and he's like that All-American, kind of like the Matt Hughes style of fighter, or Donald Cerrone even. But Randy Couture, he's got so many big name wins in his record. So and just for the length of time that he's been fighting and been a staple to the sport, Randy Couture, number 9.
One of the all-time greats. He's not on my list, but
He's not on my list either.
Cormier is on my list as a number 9.
Okay, I love the Daniel Cormier pick.
DC, big Jeff is a big fan. I know that.
I mean, here's how I feel about him. Like, he's not really that fun to watch, but he's fun to hear talk. And he seems like a nice guy, and he's got one of the most impressive rap sheets you'll come across.
If John Jones wasn't around, he'd be the best light heavyweight of all time.
Right.
Yeah, and for his weight class, he's one of the more well-rounded fighters.
Yeah, but he's almost too nice. You know what I mean?
And remember, he's also won 2 belts
as
belts. Well in 2 different divisions.
Oh, I know.
So I mean, he was carrying it through heavyweight and Strikeforce, and then comes to the UFC. Cain Velasquez and him are buddies. They don't want to fight in the heavyweight division, so he drops to 205. Still dominates except for against John. Right. So I like that pick. I like that pick a lot.
Jeff, who you got? DC or Brock Lesnar?
DC would dominate him.
We're gonna see that fight pretty soon.
Maybe. I doubt it. I think DC will fight Stipe, and that'll be it.
I didn't even think about Brock Lesnar this whole time.
Yeah. Oh, Brock Lesnar shouldn't be on this list.
No.
So, and I'll go into my number 9 was Stipe Miocic.
Oh wow,
dude.
Cleveland, what's up?
Your brain's getting squeezed. You're not thinking straight.
How? He's the greatest.
Stipe,
he's the greatest heavyweight.
And you don't even have the Iceman.
Stipe is the greatest heavyweight champ of all time in the UFC. Chuck Liddell is not even close to the greatest light heavyweight of all time in the UFC. So why would I put him below Chuck? And Stipe defended the belt more times than any heavyweight has, and goes back and beat DC, who I still have to mention later on this list, to go back and regain his belt. Stipe, number 9. Graham, also with the Randy Couture pick. Look, this is going to be unpopular amongst a lot of people. He was 12-12-1 in the UFC. 12-12-1. In the very beginning, yes, very, very good. Pioneer of the sport. But when it comes to his UFC resume, which is how I looked at it, I can't put him in the top 10.
He's a chump, is what he's saying.
I didn't say that. Number 8, Graham.
All right, number 8. This is very similar to my Chuck Liddell pick in terms of being a Frontier's woman to the sport. So Ronda Rousey, the first ever female champ, coming in at number 8 for me.
I like that
too.
I was looking at some of the women in UFC.
Here's the problem. Ronda's not even the best women's.
I struggled with her and Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes is the best of all time.
Yes, she is. I would put in terms of her resume, I would put her higher. But I kind of looked at, more of where you are to your competition. Ronda had
dominant.
So far dominant. Didn't have any fights go longer than a minute and 90 seconds or something.
For a while there, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close.
She went out there was so weak. She got beat, and then she I'm mentally
didn't handle it well.
I'm mentally having a break. If you're gonna win so much, you better be able to take one loss.
Jeff, I agree with you in Amanda being having the better body of work, but like I said, I took things into consideration. Ronda was just so dominant.
Yeah,
I like that she was the first ever to do it too. So I put her up on my number 8.
Good.
Gotcha. As my 8, I have Anderson Spider Silva.
That's your number 8?
I'm with you, Jeff.
That's 8. That's the 8th.
It should be a lot higher than 8.
I didn't really watch Spider Silva. You didn't really entertain me that much. I gave him an 8 just because I was trying to be nice.
He's electrifying fighters of all time.
We're gonna have to sit down and watch some highlights, buddy. We'll talk about that later when he's on much higher on Graham and mine's list.
Hey, you leave Stipe at 9, and we'll watch.
Greatest heavyweight in the UFC.
That's right.
When you're the heavyweight champ of the UFC, you're known as the baddest dude on the planet. He's the greatest heavyweight of all time in the UFC. Defended it more times than anybody. and I'm getting shit for him being number 9 all-time fighters. That's ridiculous.
You just say, yeah, you are. What's your number?
Okay,
8?
all right. My number 8 is Max Holloway, the greatest featherweight of all time.
Wow.
Most boring name in UFC history, but
Absolute dominant his entire UFC career. Crushed Jose Aldo, who would have been here if he was able to beat him twice. Defended again. Has beat some of the biggest names ever in featherweight. His last loss was only to Conor McGregor, which was, before he got beat against Dustin Poirier. And then Volkanovski. But I'm talking about like his resume up until this point, all in all, he's the greatest featherweight of all time. He's got to be in my top 10.
I love Max Holloway. Yes, that's very good.
Love him. On to 7.
Is that me?
Yep.
that's you.
All right, number 7. We already talked about him, the notorious Conor McGregor.
McGregor. Okay. Yeah, that's high for me.
Never defended the belt.
Resident or hometown is Madisonville, Kentucky. Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse. Another guy I'm not too familiar with. I like the heavyweight guys. I like to see the big dudes fight. I don't like these little
there's a reason
I don't like this gram weight stuff. You know what I mean? I want some real men in the ring.
I'm knocking on heavyweight these days.
There's a reason Demetrius isn't in the UFC anymore because his cards weren't selling as a flyweight. But hey, he's 100% in my top 10. I'll talk about him more later. One of the greatest of all time, has the longest win streak of all time as a title holder. So,
yeah,
I mean, he's unbelievable.
Sorry for the shot, Graham. I noticed you've been gaining a little bit of weight, so maybe you wouldn't be a lightweight anymore. You know.
I'm trying.
All right. My number 7 all time is Khabib. So, did you guys hear it?
Khabib, I got him higher. I'll get to him.
The reason why I don't have him higher yet, and he's been so dominant in his UFC career, but a lot of it earlier wasn't against the biggest names. I'm so sad he didn't get a chance to fight Tony Ferguson. He's had a bunch of long layoffs from fighting, so a bunch of weight cut misses. Those are the only reasons why he wouldn't be higher, but obviously one of the most dominant fighters ever.
I love Khabib. He can't help being from Dagestan. If he was from Utah,
he's tough as nails. He's just tough as nails.
He'd had a whole
He's
different.
Too tough. Yeah.
I mean, the video of the guy wrestling a bear as an 8-year-old,
and for a guy that big who usually walks around at probably 175, 180, how hard it would be for him to always cut down to 155 and then put on the dominant performances that he does every time is unbelievable. So just a few things is the reason why I don't have him higher, but without a doubt, in my mind, top 10.
I love it.
All right, we're on to 6 now.
Number 6.
Number 6 for me, Jose Aldo.
So you have him above Max Holloway, which I'm not mad about.
Max Holloway was one of my honorable mentions too. There were just not enough.
No, look, I fought with the 2. I think that's a good pick. The only reason Max has won more in the UFC, unless you include the WEC, for which Jose was the big-time champion in WEC until UFC took that over. So I think that's a very fair pick. You could put him higher, in my opinion.
Aldo would be a top 3 name without the last, 3 to 4 fights in his career.
Even if he retired and didn't fight again, even without winning anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
But then he kept fighting and he kept losing, so it was tough. It's tough to put him.
It tainted his legacy.
Yeah, the way he lost 2 times in a row to Max, and that's why I have Max higher. So yeah, I like the pick. What about you, John?
As my number 6, I have GSP, George St. Pierre.
What?
Again, not that impressed with the guy. Never really had that much fun watching anything he did.
What do you mean not that impressive?
Honest, if you want me to list what I think you want me to say, I'll put it like 2 or 3.
I like it.
I want and what
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Overall, man, that's the best he's getting. You put Stipe at 9.
Yeah.
And you're getting George St. Pierre at 6, and you better like it because he's lucky.
Are you going to put Stipe higher?
I was just being nice.
Are you going to put Stipe higher?
I haven't said his name yet, have I?
No, you haven't. But that's surprising. Okay. All right. Well, look, my number 6.
Wait,
my number 6. What?
Graham just
John put GSP at 6.
I know. I'm trying to move past it. We'll talk more about GSP here in a little bit. We got to move past that. my number 6 is Daniel Cormier because of his winning belt in multiple divisions, dominating the division except for one guy, and then going up to heavyweight, winning the belt against my number 8. And I know he just recently lost to him, but DC's definitely on the farther tail end of his career and still competing at such a high level in 2 different weight classes. Yeah, still has belts in 2 different weight classes. I mean, so to me, so he's my number 6.
He's 38, right?
Yeah, he might even be 39 now.
He has the heavyweight. He had at age 38. He had the heavyweight and the light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened?
Yeah.
Like.
Well, no, he didn't have them simultaneously.
Didn't he?
No.
I thought he did.
Not simultaneously. There's only been 2 simultaneous holders, and that's Connor and Cejudo.
Connor never defended, so.
Never defended either. That's why he made my honorable mention. So that's our 10 through 6. Graham, take us to 5.
I had Mighty Mouse at number 5, Demetrius Johnson.
Okay.
Like it. Can't take anything away from him. At my 7. Great pick, Graham. At 5 for me, the last emperor, Fedor Emelianenko.
Never fought the UFC.
The Stary Oskol, Belgorod Oblast in Russia.
Never fought the UFC.
Biggest badass has ever walked the planet. A bear of a man. There are legends about him in his hometown. Coming in at number 5.
Okay. So because he never fought in the UFC, I'll still let John have that pick. But I'm going to go ahead and give 2 number 5s in because of that. And we'll go with Amanda Nunes and Matt Hughes.
Oh, I love Matt Hughes. Oh.
Yeah.
You're filling in my gaps.
So let's go ahead and put them both in there. I actually, it's weird that I thought about like a couple of these like throughout. Where like, I'm either going to put him here, or I'm not going to put him in at all. So I had to go with 2. And Amanda Nunes, the best female fighter of all time. Matt Hughes, one of the best welterweights, probably the second best behind GSP, and held the belt forever and regained it at another point in time. So
the UFC's just lucky Fedor never had a chance.
Hey, you might be right. He could be the best heavyweight ever, but just not UFC fighter.
Pound for pound, the 5th best fighter of all time.
I'm pretty sure Fedor was offered a contract that he turned down multiple times.
It was something like that. They could never come.
They
could never come to negotiations. They could never come to terms. So it never happened. But good. So number 4, Graham.
I'm just still in shock right now.
I'm still in shock too. But we're moving past it.
One of my favorite, most electrifying fighters to watch growing up, Anderson the Spider Silva, number 4.
Okay, you're 4. Gotcha.
Over here.
John, who's your 4?
Khabib Nurmagomedov, the greatest name ever to come out of the sport.
Yeah, great job on the last name.
The dude wrestles bears in the mountains of Dagestan.
Built different,
he made
man.
Conor McGregor his puppy dog. He was patting on the head on his lap.
If this was the best bear wrestler list of all time, then sure, I'd put him up there.
Is he not? He's not even your top 10, is he, Graham?
No.
You're crazy.
That's fine. All right. So Khabib at your 4. My 4 is Mighty Mouse. I mean, I think
you can't take it away from the guy. He's just tiny, and it's not that fun.
What did he have? Like a 28 fight win streak or something stupid?
He has the record
ever, didn't he?
He has the record for the most title defenses of all time. Just dominated.
He's just tiny, so it's not that fun to watch.
I think it was like 12 or 13 fights, which is absurd. As a champion, to win that many times as a champion, that's incredible. So he's my number 4. Graham, take us to 3.
Number 3, Daniel Cormier.
Okay, even higher. I thought I was going to be the one to pick it in the highest, but
I thought me and you would have the same 1, 2, 3.
Okay. I'm sure we probably have the same 2 and 1, but okay. So number 3, Daniel Cormier. What about you, John?
You that I don't have the same top 3 as you
I
guys.
can guarantee that as well.
As 3rd best.
It's already confirmed.
All time, the Iceman.
Chuck Liddell at 3.
You ever look in like a dog's eyes or something, and you're just like, oh, like it's not looking at you nice.
Yeah, that would be like looking at Chuck
lizard
Liddell.
eyes. When he looks at his opponent, he has lizard eyes.
I love that analogy. I love that analogy, John.
That's fair. I like it.
That's
Okay.
Chuck Liddell.
All right.
He's the third best fighter pound for pound in UFC history.
Okay.
He goes out for blood. When he fights, he's dishing out punishment for sure.
He's
Yeah, at one point in time, he
if he was
absolutely
born
was.
2,000 years ago, he's like the biggest barbarian running around with like a log with like metal sticking out of it, hitting people.
One thing that I learned about
guy.
Chuck Liddell was his jiu-jitsu background from watching the E60 documentary on him. Because he's known as such a striker, I didn't know he was as well-rounded as he was.
Another
Well, I
great
mean,
thing
it's what it takes to. What it takes to be a champ in MMA most right now, like the wrestling and grappling background.
100%, 100%.
You almost have to have. Yeah.
The most
100%.
impressive thing about
What's up?
Chuck Liddell is he carried additional weight, love handles, if you will. So that even makes him
He was rocking the dad bod.
pound for pound, even more
He was
impressive.
rocking the dad bod, but Daniel Cormier is like the king of the dad bod when it comes to.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean,
He's got a grandpa bod for sure.
You gotta
Yeah.
love a fat guy fighting.
God,
5'6" heavyweight.
and just doesn't give a shit. You know, he just lets it
Well,
fly and goes out and dominates. Well, why would you?
Dude, he's kicking ass.
He's dominant. So okay, good. All right. So my number 3 is Anderson Silva. I put him in my 3. So there's a point in time when he for sure would have been number 1 on my list for a long time until probably the past 3 years.
Yep.
And so
5 years.
Yeah, maybe 5. Yeah, probably about 5 actually now. It's been long enough, but he's my number 3.
Definitely dominant.
I mean, even when he fought at 205, he never won a belt at 205, but every now and then he'd go up to 205 and just wreck somebody like Stephen Bonner, Forrest Griffin. It just dominated. So he's my 3.
What a skinny 205.
Yeah.
Graham, who do you have it too?
2.
I wrestled with this one a little bit. I think me and Jeff are going to disagree. But
I know what you're doing right now, then.
Yeah,
No,
I did put John Jones as number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
You put John at 2. Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Wait, who? Say the name.
John Jones.
John Jones.
Oh.
Yeah. He's never lost, but legacy is a bit tainted because of his outside of the cage tendencies, which was, I guess, what put him at number 2 for me. Obviously, on the mat, he's, one of the best, if not the best of all time.
He's the most violent fighter I've ever seen, and he just dominates people so bad. Like he surpassed Anderson Silva at a certain point in time where you're like, oh, he is the dude. Like in the fight game, he was just
his last title defense, though, I didn't think was.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great.
He looked like he didn't take it seriously when he was like going into the fight. I have him as my second also.
Okay.
But what you were saying, just his legs, his knees, his like everything he does below the waist is just so aggressive. Like obviously he can knock you out with a punch, but there's something special about like his joints.
Yes.
Like the guy it's punishing.
He was built to be a fighter. Like his body is just ridiculous for a 205-pound fighter.
His brother is a Pro Bowl defensive end. He's one of the best in the league.
His other brother,
the best defense, you know.
And his other brother also played in the NFL as a defensive tackle. So I mean, just think, just
he's got the elite NFL genes, but he's taking it to the cage.
The next level in fighting. So GSP for me I put it 2. And then look, I wrestled at it also, Graham, because of what GSP did when he came back at 185 and beat my number 10, Michael Bisping.
That was such a good fight.
It was amazing, very, very impressive. The one reason why I didn't have GSP there, when he first left the sport at 170, I thought Johnny Hendricks actually beat him in that title fight, and then he retired. It was a 5-round war.
God, that was a bloodbath.
Unbelievable fight. But he had 1 and 2 for me. Obviously, John's my number 1. We can just go ahead and say that now. 2 and 1 for me kind of have separated themselves a little bit from the pack. And Anderson's close for me, and obviously Mighty Mouse, whatever. But so that's my 2 and 1 is GSP and John.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I have GSP at number 1. His style of fighting and being so respected in the community. He was, one thing I just learned, the athlete of the year in Canada.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
He's a big deal up in Canada. Big deal.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait to hear this. I want to know who John's number 1 fighter.
He put Greg Hardy. I know he put Greg Hardy.
He put Stipe Miocic.
So he's not only the best pound-for-pound fighter of all time, but he also happens to be the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time. In his free time, he's not just a great fighter, he's a great guy. He volunteers in his community. He's a volunteer firefighter out of Euclid, Ohio. Stipe Miocic. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the best pound-for-pound fighter in the history of the UFC.
Okay. All right. I'm not mad at it. We'll get these polls
why
up
you're
together.
laughing, because if Stipe is looking in the eye, you wouldn't be laughing right now.
Hell no, I wouldn't be laughing. I'd be getting my ass kicked. That's for damn sure. There's no doubt about that. I love Stipe.
Greg,
And that's
do you
why,
have the Stipe shirt?
that's why he's my top 10.
You have that shirt?
What?
I gave you a Stipe Miocic shirt I bought. And it didn't fit
I don't
me.
recall
gave it to
that.
you. So you don't have it. All right, there we go.
No, I don't.
That's
I
too
have
bad.
3 shirts
Shame.
down
I
here.
hope he doesn't see this.
That's
Because
too
he would
bad.
be disappointed.
That's too bad. Well, that's all right. So that's it. I did have some interesting honorable mentions. We talked about them a little bit. Like I didn't put Connor. BJ Penn could have been on some
I
of
saw
those.
BJ, yeah.
EJ Penn.
Frankie Edgar. I think you could have put Henry Cejudo.
I had all of them.
And then it sucks because I want to put him in so bad because I like him so much. But he never won a championship. One of the best fighters to never win a championship, Donald Cerrone also.
He's a Charles Barkley of
Yeah.
UFC.
Him and Dan Henderson, really, at that level.
So Matt Hughes, BJ Penn, Hendo, Frankie Edgar, Nunez was in my honorable mention. Henry Cejudo, Crow Cop, and then one of the OGs, Royce Gracie, to the sport.
That's a really good point. He could have been number 1 on everyone's list and no one would be mad at you just because what he did literally for the UFC.
Without him, the sport doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
The Gracie.
Yeah. Doesn't exist. Without him and Bruce Lee, those are the 2 pioneers of MMA.
The Walker Texas Ranger. Don't forget him. That's episode 9. Thanks for tuning in again. Graham, thanks for making another appearance on the show.
As always.
We'll be back on Monday. I think we're going to be doing a little bit of college football discussion.
And MJ recap.
In there too. Sorry?
MJ recap. Final 2 episodes Sunday night.
I'm pumped.
Every Monday. Looks like there might be some Scottie Pippen material in there just based off of some of the different commercials. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks, guys. I guess we'll talk to you Monday.
Wrap it up, buddy. Yep.
See you guys.
All right. See you guys.
Yeah.